Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Bourbon Over Baseball with your host Bob, co-host Full House. Today we got Jeff, Matt, and Peter.
Hello.
Woo!
All right, everybody. I know we've had a long break. A lot of we cranked it out during COVID, but people are sort of back to work. Then the holidays are hitting, and everyone's busy. But we're back at it again. So
And baseball's back.
Yes, if you guys are listening to this, baseball starts tomorrow. So the date of this recording is the day before. I've already done a fantasy baseball draft, so there's lots of stuff happening. Baseball's getting pretty exciting again.
My league got canceled. I'm sad.
Oh no.
Fantasy?
Yeah, Yahoo just refunded everybody because of the draft happened pre-COVID.
Oh. Wow.
Like we think it's not fair. I'm like, man, I really liked my team.
You should have told me, because my draft was like 2 days ago. I think it was Tuesday night, and we only had 8 people. Usually I run a 10-man league. And it's Roto.
I loaded up on Young Arms prior. Like I had like Paddock and the young kid on Oakland that was coming back this year too. Montas.
Oh, Frankie.
Yeah, I was loading up on all the Young Arms this year.
I grabbed Lance McCullers coming off Tommy John. They thought that he was going to be good for only a short number of games. I'm like, perfect, 60-game season.
that is the perfect pick for this.
Plus, I drafted like way too many Yankees. Get Wrecked would be like really happy about my fantasy team.
Yeah, it's funny. I was talking last night about just the season in general and like comparing it to like other seasons and like the idea of like NBA playing 27 games or the NFL playing 6 or 7 games. Like it's just like in base, it's funny. 60 games in a nutshell just sounds like, oh, that's a season, you can do it. But and I feel weird about this happening. But if it's happening, like I'm at least gonna I'm excited to tune in tomorrow. And
absolutely,
I saw some tweet that I think it's Yankees Nationals.
Yep. Cole versus Scherzer.
Right. Some tweet that said, like, can't wait to completely judge Garrett Cole's entire salary based on one game tomorrow.
I saw that tweet. And it's so true. Yankees Nation will, like, either lift him up as the savior or, like, destroy him.
Just light him on fire. Right. And I should mention, too, that, like, I feel like we started, Bob's league and us. Matt, Peter's the only one not in here. Well, he was in there. We had a team, but we had to... We lost it because we lost another person, so we had to get back to a number.
Too good.
I know. I know. It feels weird. We're just gonna have some players that have no stats, but you know what? 60-game season's weird. There's a lot of weirdness everywhere.
We'll get this season done quickly, and then we can actually get into that NL draft, which I really want to do, which will be really fun. Speaking of NL teams, segue. Let's see if you guys could. Some fans at home can figure out what team this is first. I guess if you didn't already look at the title of the podcast, but it's not a scary movie. Hold on. That's badass.
Oh my god! Right, I was gonna say this sounds like we just went from horror film to a clown horror film.
From a haunted house into a fun
So they have a couple theme songs, but it seemed like people were. I was looking this up that when Ernie Hayes, R.I.P., plays "Here Comes the King" on the organ for a lot of the games. So that's the one I wanted to pick for this podcast. I thought that was pretty cool. Versus like there were some remakes of like other songs that had the Cardinals like overlaid. I thought that was un-Cardinals like, especially for how old of a team they are.
Right.
But now we should say before getting into this that Peter absolutely loves the Cardinals, probably his favorite team of all time.
Definitely.
So he's going to give these things rave reviews about how he loves the Cardinals the whole time.
Yeah.
And that's just because Peter lived close enough to understand why he doesn't like Cardinals fans. Not fans? What do you want to say? Not the fans.
Best fans in baseball,
there you go.
And they won't shut up about it.
Yeah.
Their team wins because they care more than you do.
There you go.
That will never cease to be condescending. Right?
That sounds like every fan base. So that's correct. Right.
Yeah, so Peter had firsthand knowledge living close there, actually living in Missouri, right?
St. Louis.
St. Louis, so that he was able to get this firsthand when he turned on the radio to listen to sports talk.
It was absolutely awful. So bad.
So let's go through this then. And the first up we have is Manny Ibar. And let's see here. Okay, typical little reliever here. 3 control. So it reminds me of that card you just posted that was like 200 points. It was a 4-1 through 16 out. An 0-1 card, but yeah, nothing too spectacular here.
I mean, we're coming back to this again. Like the 2000 relievers are great for value. Like it's so funny looking.
I feel like though he's like worth like 60 points.
Well, right, and like I was thinking, like I've said this before, almost every reliever that was drafted in any seasons we do shared 2000, 2001, they're all 2000s relievers. And I was thinking because I do the Showdown a day, post a Showdown card every day, and the one today was I like you mentioned it was like a 200-point 2001 reliever, and it made me think to say like whenever we end up doing these future leagues like the NL only, I think like doing a 2001 only will be fun in some way and whenever we get there, just because the relievers like we're so skewed in terms of how we value relievers, and like we're gonna have to draft guys that are just we're overpaying for it just to get decent relievers in those like with those years.
Absolutely.
So, right.
Next up is Ricky. Oh boy, Badaliso.
Badalico. I think I'm looking it up right now.
Ricky. So this is I think even he's still overvalued for. There's.
Guess what his whip was.
Oh man, so his whip, I would say it's 3.5.
His whip?
I don't know. He's awful. He's a control 2.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's 1.8, which is still like unheard of.
Yeah,
Terrible.
you're averaging almost 2 hits or walks an inning.
Wow.
I thought it was good. I thought you were like saying it because it was like the most outrageous thing you've ever seen.
I mean, a 1.8 is super outrageous.
Yeah, especially for a closer.
Yeah.
What would this card, if you guys made this card, right? This was a 2019 player, 2018 player. What would the points be here? 30, 40?
I bet like 30 or 40 because he doesn't give up a homer, so that saves them.
So it's so funny because like
it's the closer bonus.
That's right. The closer bonus.
You're right.
Here.
That's it. Because that's it. That explains it.
And Peter, you might know this, but there's not many 2 control cards in the set.
Like, very few, and a couple of them are in the pennant run because like those were the introductions to them.
Right.
Yeah. So this is very rare, I think. Also, that there's a 2 control. I mean, you don't usually see it till pennant. It was literally 0s and 3, 4, 5, 6.
Also, I think this is a good illustration of how the pitcher cards seem to be tied closer to whip in the original set, because Manny's ERA was almost it was more than a half run higher than Ricky's.
Yep.
But Manny's whip was quote unquote only a 1.443.
Yeah.
And so he got the like standard tier 4 card, even though his ERA was so high. Well, Ricky gets punished with a tier 6 with that control 2 on its 16. So definitely a big factor with whip, even though Ricky gave up less runs than Manny did.
Do you think like how that person told us control is tied to their home run rate, that like the whip was like their out range?
Well, that doesn't make sense in terms of control to home run, because Manny has more control, and yet his home runs per 9 was higher than Ricky's. Give up 1.2 versus 1. So at least here that theory doesn't hold up.
Either way, don't draft this card. Next up, Kenton Bottenfield. So if you really want a 0, no doubles, I guess you could go for somebody like this, but this is pretty rough too. So far the Cardinals are very lackluster.
Yeah, this is just because again, I pay attention to jerseys and designs. Is it normal that they have the Cardinals sitting on the bat on their jersey on both sides of the bat?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's like I've never noticed that until now. Again, I'm paying hyper attention to it. But yeah, it's just I just love in like the scope of this card when you look at it. There's just like so many damn actual cardinal birds on the card. Like there's like with it right now I can see 5 and I'm like honestly looking around for like a 6th. Like there's one behind the box, there's one in the control circle, like the control 0 circle. Like honestly
I could play a seek and find with my daughter. Can you spot 5 birds?
right, she'd instantly find it, you know.
So next up we have Darren Bragg, who does get drafted. So now let's talk about actually a pretty decent card here. Darren Bragg's got the 9 on base, OF +2, so he can play anywhere. Fantastic. He can hit a home run, big single walk range, a lot of outs, but he is only 260 points. So I think very, very draftable.
Yeah, I like him. I mean, you're not getting a lot of pop, but you're getting a 9 on base that you can be very flexible with.
Especially for 260.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking. So just looking back at our mini league we did with the 2000-2001, just kind of gives us a reference point for an 8-team league, who got drafted, who didn't. Only 3 players from this team got drafted. We haven't gotten there yet. It's going to become obvious who they are, but I'm surprised. I mean, maybe it's just the chart, but the OF +2, like I'm surprised that I haven't really paid attention to him as much before.
Especially also being B speed, I feel like he doesn't hurt you too bad. Yeah, he's not a big powerful chart, but 260 is very valuable.
And I think it's like, again, in our leagues we play where you roll the 1, you get the mistake pitch, and then it just basically extends whatever your 20 roll is to become 20 to 24.
Yep.
So it's not like, I don't think it's the reason why people are drafting people, but it might be a sway factor. Him having a 20 means that if you get the mistake pitch, he becomes 20 to 24 home run. If that was 20 double, then it'd be 20 to 24 double. Yeah. So little things like that matter. You know, we pay attention to that. There's one card that we're going to get to in a bit that like is that even more. It's just kind of a bizarre chart. But anyway, I think that's kind of in our brains a little bit.
Yeah, and depending on the league you play in, that's going to factor, what you're going to do. Next up, we have Alberto Castillo. Who
this is the card.
Oh yeah,
he
gets drafted all the time, and usually by me if no one else takes him. I absolutely love this card. I like paying 130 for a catcher with a +10 arm, so I don't have to spend like an Pudge salary on a card or Jason Kendall, but I can still get a 7 that just gets a lot of hits. He's C-speed, so he's batting like 9th, but he's still gonna hit a home run, and I got like catcher locked up. Unless you're really punting in a certain way, I feel like this is like a really good medium where you can get a salary catcher for a great arm.
Right. I can't believe he didn't get drafted, actually, because you actually, Bob, you picked 2 of the Cardinal players of the 3 that were total drafted. This wasn't one of them.
Did I pick Blanco for my catcher?
I can check that, but you must. I mean, how did a +10 arm not get how did he not get drafted in our mini seed? That's just wild to me. So, I'm checking now, but that's like let me see who you had for catcher. You had Charles Johnson. 2000 Charles Johnson.
Oh yeah, I was trying that out.
+8. Yeah, he's but I just can't believe he didn't even get drafted, because I think for 130, like thumbs up,
value.
I'm in.
Incredible value.
Right. It's a great 9 batter.
Next up, JD Drew, another pretty powerful, solid card here. Lots of flavor on the chart. 1 through 5 outs kind of sucks, but you get an 8 A speed, OF +1. So a lot of guys that have flexibility. He's average. I don't know what you guys thought. Would you rather have Darren Bragg or JD Drew?
Darren Bragg.
For probably Drew.
For 310?
I mean, it's 50 more points and it's a lot more fun.
Yeah.
It is more fun.
It probably depends on how the rest of my lineup's looking. Like Drew I would take earlier, but like Bragg, like in the second and third to last round, and I have enough points, and it's either a 7 that homers at like 18 or 17, or a 9 that can give me +2 in the outfield, I'd probably take Bragg.
Right.
But I would take Drew over Bragg if points allowed it.
Yeah. That's kind of the question I was asking, because it's interesting to just look at those 2 guys versus each other, who are these OF guys. But the A speed I think is really good here. The single plus at 15, it's a pretty nice card.
It's essentially a double at 15, which is, I think, for 310. I've kind of noticed in these seasons that there's not crazy low double ranges like at starting numbers. Like you find them, they're around, but I think I've paid attention to more of it in the more recent seasons that you guys have made. I noticed that it's just not there as much in 2000. So I think, the idea of at 15, he's probably getting on second. And again, you're paying 310. Like that's pretty good.
Next up, Jose Jimenez. This is basically Kent Bottomfield.
They're
just raw.
right. They're actually like, I think the exact same.
Yeah. So kind of, you don't want this card. Let's just quickly move on.
They must like, honestly, like I still get so confused by the thought process between not having many ones and twos in these, in like what just,
I think it was like we were talking to Kevin about where they didn't have a lot of play testing when they first did this, and they probably said, all right, we're going to do the really bad guys are zeros, and like 3 is going to be like where we're going to start it.
But then
I don't get it.
Right. You're right. Like it proves to me that there was no sense of play testing because like any of us know that if you put this guy in, like even against definitely against the 2000 season, just because all these guys can hit and hit for power, he gets fucking lit up.
Oh, yeah.
Like 1 or 2 innings in. Like I had CC, who I thought like again the value pick of the century, but like better than this, and he would get lit up in the first 3 or 4 innings. Like I had to pull him so early, so like he's basically coming in is like just like a fake starter, so you can take him out and put in relievers. Like it's just
and then you're spending 180 points for him. It's like why waste even that much? Especially when we get to the Rockies when there's Darryl Kyle and Brian Bohannon.
Right.
So, but here's a card that gets picked up is Ray Langford. Now this is the step up from JD Drew. So much more powerful card. Still single plus at 15 here, but the extra outfield and an extra on base.
Their outfield's really nice.
Oh yeah,
for real.
Was that
absolutely
+5 outfield? And this guy having the A speed is really nice too. I mean, do you? So is he worth 100 more points? I would think probably for sure.
I would say so.
I mean, I've played Langford a lot. He's a great leadoff hitter.
It's crazy. This is. I'm just going back because I'm just like curiously looking into it. This team had only had 2 All-Stars, and one was McGuire because duh. The other was Kent Bottomfield, which is unusual. Like I guess I'll look up the stats.
Yeah, what did
see.
Kent do that year?
Yeah, I'm checking right now.
Had a sub-4 ERA.
He had a good ERA and he gave him a 0.
Wow, he was 18.
1.5 ERA WHIP.
What? Yeah, he had the 0 card, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, he was 18-7 that year. Like I know that wins and losses is kind of not it's hard to take that in itself, but yeah, I guess 1.5 WHIP is not great. Like you said, he almost a 4 ERA, but dude had the wins and losses. Like
the ERA doesn't matter as much when you think about the old days.
Yeah.
Right.
Steroid era, having a sub-4 ERA is kind of like having a 3-ish ERA now.
Yeah.
Right. Totally true.
Yeah, it's just interesting seeing. So he made the All-Star game because he had a lot of wins he was probably one of the top guys going into the All-Star break in wins, and they were like, you got to put him in there.
Yeah.
Especially when the rest of his team's rotation was not great.
Yeah.
Like Jimenez was 5-14 by the end of the season, which is horrible.
Wow.
The rest of them were just middling around 500.
This is probably like one of your favorite Cardinals seasons, Peter.
Well, there's been a lot of down years for St. Louis to celebrate.
Yeah. Next up is Joe McEwing, some kind of utility guy here. 7 on base. Nothing really spectacular. Decent doubles, but B speed. I would not want to pay 190 for this.
He's one of these type of guys though are the reason why I want to do a deeper rostered league, because I feel like these guys become more fun.
Oh, for sure.
I totally agree.
Because it's like, oh, you're gonna pinch hit later, and you're not spending as much salary on all your players because you have more. So you're gonna have your top stars, and then you're gonna have, we'll have more lower tiered players. Like I see him. Like Enrique Wilson, I think those guys will be a lot of fun just because you can throw them anywhere.
Yeah, and also injury leagues. When you got to have your team's roster and a guy can get hurt, you got to fill a spot with somebody. This guy's got multiple positions, not hurting you too bad. But that's really it. I mean,
right. I almost love Matt. I love that because like I almost think again deeper, maybe half like only one league specifically. And I like the bench. Everybody has their own bench rules. Everybody agrees and disagrees on this. We could talk about this for the rest of the pod. But I kind of like the idea of just like forcing a bench, and especially if it's like not that many teams. Like if you're only doing like an NL or an AL,
Right.
Sure, people are going to grab up those 10 and 20 point players just to check the box and never use them. But like how early do those guys go? Right. Once they're gone, what do? Do you start thinking, well, shit, I might as well pay a little bit extra and actually get some guys that I can bring into the game like a Joe McEwing,
Mhm.
So it is an interesting way to look at it, that this guy in our normal 8-person 2001 league, no, he's not getting picked up. We're probably never thinking about him. But alternatively, there is a world where he can exist and probably exist well.
next up, Willie McGee. The only time you're grabbing this guy is if for some reason you need to punt. You need to save some salary. I mean, he's not good.
Ugh.
But you talk about that single range.
That's wow.
Bad card, and they gave him an awful picture.
Yeah, he looks like he's grinding out.
I thought he looked like he struck out.
Honestly, either or, could have been either.
Looks in pain.
I mean, he's got the 3 to 5 ground ball range, so technically, if you're rolling, it'd be a better chance for the ground ball. Not playing semantics though, Bob.
He just looks like he's like shit. Like, I did not mean to do that.
Like, there's no way I'm making this team next year.
Yeah. Next up, Big Mac. So somehow, out of the pits comes the hero, Mark McGwire. This is just after his giant runs at the home run record and everything. They give him this monster of a card, his iconic swing here. Sucks with the C speed, but for 570, you're getting a 10 with 16 home run. Pretty damn good.
I feel like we missed.
Season.
What's that again?
He had 65 homers that year.
Just a mere 65.
Right. Here's the funny thing is that, like, I think we all, if we didn't watch the Long Gone Summer documentary, it was good, not great. I enjoyed watching it, especially with no sports. But you could tell by the end of it that him and Sosa, especially McGwire, were just exhausted.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Like, they were exhausted of the actual hitting the damn dingers, but just also exhausted of like the media. And are you going to do it? Are you going to do it tonight? When you and it's so funny because like at the end of it, you're like, oh, he must have just trailed off and been done. But yeah, dude goes and hits 65 homers the next season. Like what the fuck? Like, it's just unreal.
I noticed that me and Peter were kind of talking like about we were talking about Bonds' home run year. I did not know that Sammy Sosa hit like 66 that year or 64. Like, I remember watching Bonds chase after the record, but I don't remember Sosa hitting over 60.
Really? I don't remember that either.
3 times.
Wow.
Is that wrong? I feel like Sammy hit over 60 3 times and he never led baseball.
I think you're right. It was something. I remember when we looked. I think we were looking this up around the time that aired, and it was kind of baffling, honestly, that happened.
He had 66 in 98, 63 in 99, and 64 in 2001.
Wow.
And none of those 3 seasons are included in the 2 years that he led the National League in home runs.
That's so funny. Wow. Yeah. Boggling. And I know McGwire had a lot of injuries, and that's why another thing that try to slow him down at the end there. But I've always.
To me.
What's up?
Put him in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I think even from the angle, like I've started coming around on that a lot more, but I just think from the angle of him just being an icon of baseball, and like for me as a young tyke getting into baseball and getting into Showdown, like also this card has looked legendary. Like, he's a legendary player. Like, he means so many things in different ways. Like,
I just liked him because he's a redhead monster. As I was growing up, I'm like, this dude's awesome.
I just think, right. And Plus, like on the other side of it, on the weird side, if anybody hasn't watched the unauthorized Bash Brothers Experience by the Lonely Island on Netflix, I highly recommend it, and because it is bizarre entertainment about Mark McGuire and Jose Canseco. So I had to plug that.
One of the good things I think about this card too is no ground balls, which I think is good. Obviously, he wasn't hitting him; he was striking out or hitting fly balls and home runs.
Right.
But when you got a C-speed guy, you definitely don't want to add any extra ground balls to your card. So in terms of just like strategizing, putting this guy in your team, knowing, hopefully depending on the pitcher that he's not going to at least get ground balls on his own chart, knowing that you got the C-speed guy running. So
Right.
that's nice to know.
It's just tough. Like he didn't get drafted in that one season.
Well, he's 570. He's expensive.
He's like, to me, like, it's funny because like he's almost like Trout, like the Trout 2018, but Trout 2018 is at least fast, and you have to. He gets on base, right? He's like 5 to 12 walk or something. And like I feel like if you're spending, my big thing is if you're spending 570, you got to get that player the most plate appearances possible. But you just can't do this with this card, right? He has to live in the number 3 spot. Like there's just no like, and I think your point about him
depends.
being,
If I drafted like Bonds, then maybe I could slide him up.
Well, yeah. I mean, we're like hypothetical, right? Like, but I think like him being 3 to 5 fly balls is a great example of that. That whoever is 1-2, hopefully you're getting on base, hopefully getting him on third, can hopefully push him home. Just because when he comes up, like that is like he's truly devastating in that specific spot. And again, paying 570 for a very specific use case to me, it's just hard to swing.
He just was one of the big cards to get during 00 when you were like, collecting. It's like, holy shit, there's a 10 that's 16 through 20 up. Like, fuck me. Like this is this is ridiculous. I have to try to get the advantage and then hope that he doesn't hit a freaking home run against me. So that was cool. I mean, I loved Bonds, I loved Sosa, but they were 8 and 9, and then you got McGuire at the 10. It was like so cool to have McGuire.
Right.
Next up, Darren Oliver. It's not the best card here, but it depends on if you're looking for IP. I'm never looking for this kind of card, but he's
IP7 though.
I just don't like IP7s.
But in theory, if he's doing well, he could go the full game.
But the IP jacks up the salary, and I'd rather have a 6 IP and put my bullpen in.
But for 380, like, I don't know. For 380, I don't.
What is he, tier 4?
Feel like how many IP7s below 400 points are there? I don't think many. I can double check that and see, but interestingly enough,
the triple single range right here. This is a rough card. I don't like it.
The triple single range, like we've brought up, we had conversations in our Discord server about how someone brought up, and they're totally right, about how singles are so much worse than walks in Showdown World. And it's true, right? I think the gap is way larger in Showdown than it probably is.
I say it on here all the time too.
Right. It's why, if you have 16 to 18 walk, 19 single, 20 double, that's not too bad. Like most that player gets drafted, but when it's this to single range, like you just can't keep just giving up singles. It's pretty awful. But interestingly enough, Darren Oliver had the second highest WAR on the Cardinals that year. McGuire was first, and then him, and then Ray Langford was third.
Makes sense. Next up, Lance Painter. I've actually drafted this one. I don't know why. I've done it before. I really don't like this card, but I know I've played with it. Just when you're looking for a 100-point reliever, it's sort of there, but I don't like it. Is he tier 4 also? It's just not good.
Yeah.
Next up, Edgar Renteria. A-speed shortstop here, but interestingly good chart. Low outs, lots of single plus, but and his average shortstop for 210. It's not going to kill you. You're not mad if this guy's in your team, but you're probably not drafting him.
Yeah, I think he's more like a you fell into that spot type of guy.
That's yeah. I feel like if he's on your team, you're like, sometimes he gets the advantage, most times he doesn't, and he's an A-speed. But I feel like the 210 is probably appropriate for this card, though. It feels like it feels right.
Yeah, I could see it. I mean, you're at least if you do get the advantage, you got the options. Like at 14, you got a single plus, so
Yeah.
and you got a speed A, so you can basically try and steal anytime you get on. But
Yep. Next up, the guy I drafted, which Jeff will tell you, is a Fernando Tatis. And the only reason I did this because I like Fernando Tatis because he had 2 grand slams in 1 inning. And I've always liked him for that. I like his kid in fantasy now.
Yeah.
So the card itself I think is too expensive. For $570, you can have Mark McGwire hitting 2 more home runs.
But for $570, you can bat Tatis number 1,
Which
and
I get it.
he gets he gets the most plate appearances. Like it makes more sense than Big Mac, and I love Big Mac.
I just think I picked him that in my league because I've always wanted to see what he could do. And
Bob, how did you justify drafting him and Jeff Bagwell?
I don't think they were on the same team.
Oh, I just know that you're 10 speed A.
That league I did not. The league that Jeff and me did. I was trying some more fun stuff. Like I was like, I would like to play the guy that I just like as a player and see how it works out. And I just really felt like it wasn't worth the 570 when I played for. His 16 doubles nice, and he's a 10 speed, which is really good.
Yeah,
but I really think I'd rather take 2 more home runs with McGwire.
Or I'd rather take just like 1 less home run, more doubles, and less salary.
Yeah.
If we're building a player, you know.
It seemed like it didn't help me that much to have him. And I don't remember. And Peter and Jeff, you can tell me, were his stats that good that year?
Here, let me. I mean, he's not. I honestly, I'm a little confused on. I mean, he was fifth in WAR on the team. Let me look at this.
I always joked that he got the foil because he hit the two grand slams. Like that was the only reason he got the foil.
Honestly,
he had 34 home runs. He had 31 doubles. He had an on percentage over 400.
Okay, so
steals.
He was good. He was good.
Yeah, he was.
Everything that year. His OPS was almost 1,000.
Yeah,
oh, wow.
I was about to say I mean, honestly, we know that, Wizards and Showdown made decisions like, oh, this guy hit 2 grand slams. Let's give him. We know that happened, like to give foil cards, but I think he did.
Yeah, I wanted to double check. I didn't know his stats from that year. I just knew that one game, and it was awesome. And I know I think he's in the Expos in 2001, so they obviously got rid of him after that.
Right.
So that kind of sucks. But I'm pretty excited to see his kid now playing, which I'm very, because he seems more of a 5-tool player. So let's see what he does.
And I would say,
no, he's no Mitch Garver.
Oh my! Speaking of, I was so pissed in my fantasy draft 2 nights ago. I'm doing my fantasy draft. The guy that's about to draft gets kicked out of the league. Like his internet kicks out. So he texts me. He's like, my internet went down. Can you pause the draft? So all right. So I paused the draft. All right. I'm not the next. Like I'm the pick after. But I have Mitch Garver lined up to be my catcher. He texts me. He goes, my internet's back on. So unpause the draft. He logs on. It left him where his I think his counting seconds were left to pick. So he only had like 30 seconds to make a pick. So he picks Mitch Garver. I text him like, you son of a bitch. You took that guy for me. I was like, you're such an asshole. I'm like, and he goes, oh my God, dude, I just freaked out and accidentally picked him. I'm like, oh, I really fucking hate you.
he was just saying that to troll you.
No, I think he like really freaked out. Now, obviously, you freak out and get Mitch Garver, you can't be too mad. But right. I actually don't know what Mitch Garver is going to do this year with the shortened season. Like,
I mean, we saw him do amazing with the short season last year.
But is he a DH kind of guy?
I mean, Nelson Cruz.
Yeah.
That's can he play first?
Once in a while. Even smaller sample size for him, Bob.
Well, I'm just wondering, is he going to even get is he like a catcher? You know how Perez plays like every game, Salvador Perez, but like Garver's like an every other kind of guy.
Yeah, so he's going to hit like 6 home runs in 15 at bats and have an on base 10 homer 12.
Yeah. So how are you, if you're the Twins, not finding out how this guy can play first?
Because Miguel Sano's there.
I thought Sano played third.
They got Josh.
Not anymore.
Oh my God, that's the problem. They have two. They can't do anything.
Yeah, that's the issue.
Oh, it's like you have Mitch Garver. I mean, you literally just have to play. You have to play catcher. But my knees hurt. I know, but we kind of need you. Anyway, off topic. Sorry, guys. Next up, Another foil, Jim Edmonds. So this is again the stacked outfield. They could have a 6 outfield if they really wanted here. Another foil.
Yeah.
This is the pennant run now, but great card. Pretty solid here. You got the 9. I wish he was A speed, so maybe he's a little overvalued. Ray Langford's what, the A speed, and he's like 30 more points. So I guess I'd rather have Ray Langford.
Right.
But
he's really good for 380 though.
oh yeah, he's
I mean,
solid.
like even 1 to 4 out, like that means something. Like there's not many of these guys. Like even I would imagine with 380 he was gonna have 1 to 5.
Was this the year he made that sick ass catch in the outfield?
Which one?
Oh wow,
dude, he was.
I
was
thinking
really
about that one where he's like running dead straight, like back left, and like makes that
yeah.
impossible catch. I thought he was in a Cardinals uniform.
I mean, he is an amazing center fielder.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, it's like I've realized like I loved him as a kid. Like I think he's especially one of those cards I got early and like just latched onto, right? But I've noticed just through you guys creating cards and creating the customs, doing some of the 96, doing some custom 2005 here and there, he's shown up a lot. And whenever he shows up, the dude is so legit and he's so good. And it's like started like really cementing that in my brain that like I should open his stats just for his career, but I think we all know that they're just wildly good and consistent, so
what's funny is I didn't have the 2000 or the 2001 card until this year.
Oh really?
Really?
I got them both this year.
Wow.
Hey, it's never too late.
Yeah, they're fun to play with. What was I gonna say? Is this one of the cards, Matt? Well, I guess Jeff or Peter could tell me. Did he like only play center field and they gave him the OF?
I'm not sure.
Well, where was he? Where was he? Was he on the Angels before
Angels.
he? Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
So this would have probably been his stats on whatever he was doing on the Angels that year. Let me open it. Dude, you got
in '99, I think.
Yeah, 17-year career. That's awesome. Let me see if I can find.
He played with McGuire, and then he was there with the Pujols Roland team.
Yeah, dude, that's really wild. This was actually one of his off years. I mean,
Sorry,
he won
I'm back,
gold.
guys. My kid fell and hit his head.
Is he all right?
Yeah, I just heard screaming. I'm like, oh my god.
It's funny. After this point, like he won Gold Gloves. He was an all-star after his rookie year. He was in rookie of the year voting, but and then he was an all-star pretty much after this 99 season, pretty much consistently.
I mean, his 01 card's awesome.
Yeah, it is super awesome. That's another just card. It looks like he played the least amount of games almost in his entire career in 99. Not sure why. I'm trying to find more information on his field.
The fans will tell us. They always know.
Right. It looks like, yeah, he didn't play many games. He only played like 52 games that season. But
and in Anaheim, if he was still there, they had Garrett Anderson, Darren Erstad, who was like a Gold Glove outfielder, and Tim Salmon. So it was hard to find him a spot.
Yeah, he was center field pretty consistently.
Okay. Well, it was just something Bernie Williams thing always was like the back of my head. So.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that thing is we've gone, I feel like, full circle or circles on that thing, but he at least I think was really, really good and maybe deserved that he could bounce around, but who knows? Fun
card though. Really, I think you're gonna be happy if you had this card in your team. Next up, probably not happy if Pat Hennigan makes your team.
That was a great segue right there.
This version, because I made the 96 version of him, and he's a Cy Young winner. But, this is just rough. Give up the home run, only 5 innings, a 3.
It's really bad.
It's funny, is he cheaper than... He's cheaper than those 0 starters like Kent Bottomfield.
I'd probably take him on Hedkin. I think we've proven
I would
that.
For sure take this over Kent Bottomfield for 10 less points, but I don't want either one of these.
Right. I have warmed up to the guys who give up a homer. Not a lot, but I've warmed up to it compared to
if you had to, but you got to keep him on a real short leash.
Oh, super short. Like my pretty much like in your league, in the league we're all in, all like half of my relievers are high control but give up a home run, and it is frightening to even have to think about using them. But hey, if you get there, you get there.
High risk, high reward.
Right. I got to say too that this looks like it's spring training, but those red hats with just the text logo with the white just looks
I just love
really
the
sharp.
old school high kick, leg kick.
Yeah, look at that. It's like above his head. Shit, it's crazy.
Good facial hair too. Next up, this is it. Here we go, Daryl Kyle. So obviously I like the non-pennant run version with him on the Rockies for 10 points, but he upgrades here to get a 3 control now, 1 through 15 out. Not great, but for 230, I don't know. Probably never drafting the guy like this. Their starters are just really rough in this year.
Probably not, but it's not the worst for 230.
It's not.
Right.
It's decent ground ball range too. I don't know. I just don't.
Right.
It's just kind of rough. Next up is Eli. Let's see, Mario.
I think Marrero.
So this is another one of the weird ones where you get, first of all, there's not many A-speed catchers, but then you get a 4, which didn't happen, I don't think, at all in the regular version. Only in the pennant.
Yeah, I have to search how many 4s there are because I don't think there's many.
I think there's one.
Is it this guy?
I think it's.
I think the best part about this guy being a 4 is that he crushes it with a 14 double and 7 single plus and 16 home run. Like, his chart is outrageous.
You're just not going to get to use it.
Yeah,
I know.
Hey, against a 0 guy, I like God. Like, this is just. I've never. Holy shit! I've never seen this card. I think
He's
I've
got
never
an
paid
8 arm
attention to
for
it.
100 points. It's not like
he's
you're punting.
Just saying, like, this is a great bench player. Situationally,
The thing
there's a
also
0 control.
is if you punted him, right? Okay, so he's your worst batter and he's 9. Chances are, whatever you had your 9th there anyway, you're rolling off the pitcher's chart. Worst case is now you have an A-speed guy on base on the pitcher's chart. That's a pretty good thing.
Our spreadsheet for this, the spreadsheet I have, it puts speed and, it puts control and on base in the same column. So I'm freaking filtering out all these relievers and closers and starters when I put in 4. He is the only on base 4 in the 2000 base and pennant run season.
Love it.
Okay,
I don't even know if there's a 4 in the 01 set.
I know. I don't.
No,
think
there is. It's a guy in the Marlins.
Alex Gonzalez.
Yep, that's it. Because I know Matt, my buddy, drafted him and was like, "Oh, dude, you guys wouldn't believe he was on my team. I got a 4."
We have to look up this guy's stats. We can't move on. I gotta see how we got to 4 here.
Yeah, he had a 236 on base percentage.
So basically nothing.
192 batting average.
Oh.
He had 11 steals.
Oh, that's interesting.
What the Cardinals, I think, had 5 pennant run cards, which is a lot for a pennant run. Like, the next team we're going to cover had 3.
So how many home runs did he have?
6.
And how many plate appearances?
343.
I mean, that's a healthy number of plate appearances. Like,
so projected to have 12 homers?
Well, he had a 1.7% home run rate, but I mean, he was only projected to get his chart 5% of the time. So like his projected home run as an on base 4 homer at 16 is 1.25%, and his real life home run rate was 1.749%. So
they undervalued him.
I mean, as much as they could.
I'm like looking at the card. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of like Javi Baez's chart.
Yeah. It's like Javi Baez's chart with somehow even worse on base.
Dude, you know what? This guy, now I'm never going to forget this card. Dude still made a chill $10 million playing for 11 years in the MLB. Like,
nice.
Not bad, not
good
bad.
For him.
This is
Peter, he was in your 03 set, right? Your 03 playoff teams?
Yeah, the 2002 teams. Yeah, he was really fun.
Wasn't he a +0 catcher?
+2.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Dude, but he's +2 or +1. He might have been +1, but he's also outfield +1, and he was an on-base 7 who could rake.
Wow.
Huh. Very interesting guy.
I'm definitely finding a way to draft this card next time we have that opportunity.
It's an interesting card. An A-speed catcher with big arm for 100 points. That's what I see it as. I mean, geez, if you ever at the advantage of this.
Your strategy, I like your strategy of him. You put him as your 9 hitter, you have a +8 catcher arm, and he's only 100 points, and you might get lucky.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, all you need is once.
Well,
That's it.
I'm not saying that. All you really need to do is try to get on the. You're going to be on the pitcher's chart anyway, because your 9-better's awful. So why not have an A-speed guy?
Well, and it's interesting because the easiest fielding to reverse engineer is catcher arm, because it's literally +1 for every 5% of caught stealing percentage the catcher had. So he had 41% caught stealing in 1999 for that +8.
Yep.
2002, 9%.
Wow.
What
So
happened?
there's the drop from +8 to +1 in 3 years.
Jeez.
But he nailed 60% of guys in 2000.
Oh wow. So he was even better then.
Well, I mean, he only faced 15
Oh,
runners.
So small sample size.
Yeah, versus 60 in 1999.
All right. So let's move on to the next guy. Is Dave Veras. Closer here. Actually, not too bad here. Closer for 5, 1 to 15 out with no doubles. A little rough with the 3 singles here, but with no doubles, it's not too bad. 170 is a little high, but not too bad. Did he play on the Brewers, Peter?
He was on the Rockies.
Oh, Rockies. Okay.
It was him and Kyle had to have gone there in the trade.
Okay. I was like, I feel like I've
However they
seen
did
this
it.
card.
Yeah, I think he was a 0 closer for the Rockies.
Oh, I think you're right.
No, isn't Kurt the closer? Or is he just a reliever for 10?
Who was Scanlon?
Yeah.
I think he's just a reliever.
Oh, he's just a reliever. I think he's like 10 points, though. He's an awful reliever. Next up, love drafting this guy, Fernando Vina.
Yes, this is your other pick, Bob.
Yeah,
So-
save this guy for last. Great card. A-speed 10. Don't worry about the home runs. This guy's batting leadoff for you. Get the big +4 second base. Love it. I mean, I've always liked this card. I've had good success with him just being an on-base machine. But, do you pay a little more and get, Shumpert, 160 more points? I've always liked Fernando Vina.
No, I mean, I agree. I think this is better. I mean, he is the, him, Vizquel, like these are the, leadoff guys in this set. I'm working on bringing up his stats from the season that we did with him, where you had him. But yeah, no, dude gets on base. Like, I think that we all know that. So let me see. I'm bringing it up just in a second here. I mean, you had to have been batting him first, but
Yes, he was
dude,
definitely
426 on base.
Love it.
460 slugging in like 887 OPS, which is not bad.
Yeah.
Like, just not bad at all. And,
It was a
and
small
it's funny.
league.
Right, and Tatis also had a lesser on base, but his slugging was 900. But yeah, he did some damage. I mean, dude, 19 singles, like out of 68 plate appearances. That's
I feel
pretty
like he was
awesome.
on base all the time. I mean, he's such
All
a
the
good
time.
card, and I'm always
Right.
trying to steal with him. Like, get on base, go to second. Like, that's all I wanted to do, and then have Tatis knock him in. I think I had Galarraga on the team and Sosa, so I think I went Vina, Tatis, Galarraga, Sosa in my league, and it was just a fun.
Yeah, it's funny. You had a very like not balanced lineup. Like
yeah,
the
I
first
was
half
just
was just
having fun.
right. First half was just truly devastating, and then the second half was just not great.
Yep. Yep.
But
But
anyway.
that is the Cardinals, everybody. I don't know if you guys have any closing words you want to say. They didn't have the definitely not the best pitching at all, but a couple of good draftable hitters in this team.
Yeah. No, they've. I think there's a lot of between Vina, McGuire, Tatis. I mean, for being like, and their record was not good for that season. They're very. I mean, there's a lot of recognizable players in this, probably more than a lot of the other teams, to be honest. So
It's a crazy turnaround because I was looking at 99 they were terrible. In 2000 they won 95 games.
it's almost
Wow.
that's a complete reversal of
Yeah.
their previous record. They were
had
like
the second best record in the NL.
It's probably
Wow.
because they're fans. They just have such good fans.
oh, that deserves a slow clap. That's, great. That's incredible.
So yeah, again, everyone, thank you for listening, and stay tuned for the next one. You never know what we're gonna have next.